Hi. So I'm here with Bion. This is Bion. And how do you describe yourself?
I am a 60-year-old trans woman.
60-year-old trans woman. Tell me what that means for you.
What it means for me? I've been able to live my true self for the past 6, going on 7 years. I'm also a former, I'm still an athlete. I was a college athlete, a Division I hockey player, goaltender.
So you told me you were a trans woman, okay?
I'm trans woman.
I'll be upfront with you. I don't believe that there's such a thing. But however, I'm not here to demean you. However, you say you were a trans woman, 60 years old. Does that mean that most of your life you lived as a man? You were born as a biological man. Okay, so you were born as a biological man, right?
I was.
As an athlete, did you participate in men's or boys sports or girls sports?
Boys and men's, yes.
So do you support women only in women's sports and boys in boys sports, or tell me what you
I believe yes, but in this context, I know where you're going with it, and I do believe that if trans women suppress their testosterone, then I think it's fair that they are able to play with who they belong with.
I'm a biological female. I was born with a uterus and ovaries. You were born with a penis and scrotum.
As far as you know.
Well, I'm just saying, you said you were born as a biological male, right? So, for people like me, women, right, biological women, why do you think that we should allow and accept trans women into our space?
The women, I believe, in my estimation, and the way my experiences with it, and the kids that I've spoken with, it's all about belonging. And about inclusion. It's about being with friends. There's a lot of kids that now, when I was young, nobody knew the word transgender existed. I knew right away. I knew as early as I could talk. I knew as soon as I could see, watch television, that I knew I wanted to be that person. I identified with the female teacher.
Around how old were you when you started having
I wrote a book about this whole thing. It's called Skating Out of the Vault, a trans woman's escape from the game of masculinity.
Skating out of the vault?
Skating out of the vault. I was a hockey player, so skating out of the vault, and I put myself into a metaphorical vault. I didn't tell a single soul. I knew I couldn't, because this is the 70s, and I couldn't tell anybody.
Well, let me ask you that. Okay, let's leave the adults aside for a moment, okay? Whether trans or gay or whatever, leave the adults aside. Yeah. What about children, particularly minors, who are they're going through puberty? Of course, we know how those hormones are. Every normal child going through puberty has some challenges with his or her body and body image. Why do you think that it's okay, or do you think that it's okay for those young people to be quote unquote trans at such young ages?
Because I knew I didn't have the language for it. Okay, when I was that age, I knew I was trans. I knew I was a girl. I wanted to. That's just who I felt. Like everything about me felt that way. But I had to put this masculine suit on. You know what I'm saying? So I do know it's real. I mean, I feel.
But even if you knew it was real at 6, 7, 10 years old, we know that children have not even quote unquote come into their own. So would you support them having hormones and surgeries at that age?
No one has surgeries at that age. Okay. That doesn't happen.
Okay.
That's a myth. That's Donald Trump telling you all this crap. That doesn't happen.
Okay. What about the hormones then?
That typically doesn't happen.
When I was 12 years old, I went to a therapist, Kaiser therapist, and told her about these feelings, and she immediately affirmed me and gave me a diagnosis of gender dysphoria.
Layla Jane says her doctors didn't do anything to treat her underlying issues. She says she suffered from childhood sexual abuse and autism.
I took Lupron and testosterone at 12 years old. A month after my 13th birthday, I had a double mastectomy at this very clinic.
This is my first time attending anything like this.
Gideon Cotting says his daughter transitioned at the age of 11 and is now regretting her choice.
Every person in authority has failed them when they should have pumped the brakes, assured them, and said, hey, you're good. Just take some time, sort it out, don't make any rash decisions.
People like Cotting feel it's important to let kids grow up first and wait on making any life-altering changes until they are adults.
No child is born in the wrong body. Every child should be allowed to grow up whole and deserves adequate treatment for their
All right, what's up, Poppin' Politics family? This is KJ. Shelly's behind the camera. We are here at the Supreme Court decision on biological men in girls' sports. And I'm here, and this is an interesting sign. So can you talk about why you're here and talk about what your sign is about?
I came down here from New York because I'm concerned about two things: girls' sports and boys' health. Those boys who are being given puberty blockers and estrogen so that they can pretend to be girls, they're being hurt by the adults around them. The doctors and, unfortunately, the other adults who think they're doing the right thing, but they're not. So a lot of these boys who are very gender nonconforming, who are into Barbie dolls and that kind of thing, a lot of them grow up to be gay. That's like kind of a normal course of things. Like me, when I was a kid, I was a tomboy. I was a girl who liked to play, with boys' toys, whatever. I grew up to be a lesbian. That's very common. But nowadays, these kids are being told that they are the opposite sex, and they're being prescribed drugs that hurt them. Puberty blockers are the drug that is used to chemically castrate sex offenders. And it's controversial in that context because they have so many side effects.
Yeah. Now, for you being, a gay woman, how have you been received for being on this side of the issue? Because I know we are sort of like the opposite. We're conservative as black females, and so we get like a lot of trash about it. But how do you get received for this position?
Yeah, I think there may be some parallels. I have gotten some flack from other gay people, and there are definitely like a number of gay people who are like, I agree with you, but it's very quiet and like wink wink. But like the ones who are out front and they're getting promotions at work because they're such like trans allies, they want me to shut up. And they're mean, and they're like, they say that I'm going to be betrayed, that the conservatives are out to get me. And I'm like, no, man, like the liberals are out to castrate children who are just like us. They're telling women like me that they should like use testosterone, which is steroids, anabolic steroids. These lesbians are taking anabolic steroids. It's bad for them. So it's the left who is hurting these women.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can talk about sort of like the initial feminist movement, was pro-woman, pro-equality, and this seems to go against that.
Absolutely, yeah. This is 180 degrees opposite of the feminist movement. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a pure power grab. Is that my blog covers the history of the trans movement. It's called Bad Facts. And I've gone into this question of like, how did this happen? It was just this very aggressive push by trans activists in the 90s. And they got a lot of influence in foundations that were funding the feminist organizations. So it came kind of top down where they just pressured. And it was like, if you were challenging the trans agenda, you were pushed out of the feminist organizations and you were pushed out of the gay organizations.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping and talking with us. Did you want to share your podcast or anything with our viewers?
My Substack is called Bad Facts, and it covers lawsuits about trans, and it covers the history of trans. So Bad Facts at Substack. My name is Glenna Goldis, Goldis.
Thank you so much.